Welcome to the podcast where we're all friends because we love all things Bravo, pop culture, and can't stop talking
having so much fun.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Bravo should be fun.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your host here at Besties by Bravo,
Allegedly allegations,
where we're in a safe space to gossip, share our thoughts, and opinions.
That girl's a liar. That girl's a liar.
About the Bravo celebrities, shows, and celebs we love, hate, and
that's when
love
Chef
to
goes,
hate.
Oh, suddenly now you're so religious?
So be cool. Don't be all uncool.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
Because sometimes things may get a little, well, ridiculous.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on. Ah! Oh my God!
It's like the Blair Witch Project or something. All you can hear in the background is, oh my God, has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God, can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
I'm so glad you're here to enjoy the fun. So, thank you for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today. It is Tuesday, May 7th. How is it already May? I don't know, but we're here, friends, and we're going to rock through it. Let's just start with this. The Vanderpump Rules finale for season 11 is tonight. My Lord in heaven, y'all. There's a lot that has come out. And it came out last night because I don't know if y'all recall, but there's been a lot of talk about how something happens at this Vanderpump Rules reunion that's never happened before. And we all had kind of collectively made the assumption, I should say, that the cast is going to be watching the finale together, which they never have really done that before. A lot of times they watch it maybe beforehand in their trailers, what have you, or that day. And it appears that they will be watching the finale, at least a portion of it together, which they did not do with the last reunion where we got that little add-in at the end with Rachel and all of that. Now, I am going to place the trigger warning right here. We're 3 minutes in. Here's your trigger warning that if you follow or don't follow her on Instagram, you should at ccici.loves.u. She posted a video last night. She's a very kind person. She's been through a lot in the last few years, really. So be kind to her. She's a sweet person. She apparently had a lengthy conversation with Kyle Chan. And I don't know also if you recall on the last episode where Tom Sandoval had said, very teary-eyed and confessional, that Kyle Chan saved his life, essentially, and he's a really good dude and all of this. Well, it appears that, again, trigger warning, Kyle told Cece that Sandoval had bought something that is used a little too often here in the US and is highly accessible, and there should be more legislation against. We'll say that. Bought a GUN, and Kyle claimed to Cece that Sandoval had intentions of using it on himself and was basically calling Kyle and about to be in the act, allegedly, of we'll say this choice that he felt was necessary in his mind at that time. And it looks like they see this at the reunion, and that may be why that moment with Tom saying to Ariana, dude, you know me, type of thing. And why Ariana even utters a word to him in that moment. I'm sorry to start the show off so heavy. But it also further explains why we are getting that pause in filming for Vanderpump Rules. I mean, things seem to have gone too far. And, I remember saying to people when all of this was going down and it's hard because as a content creator that talks about this, I mean, I started my podcast not too terribly long before this scandal happened. So it was a new territory to navigate, and we'd never seen anything like this on Bravo. And I remember saying, I'm concerned about at that time, especially Rachel and her mindset, because I can't imagine being in that entire storm. And I was concerned about them having ideations, things like that. It doesn't feel good. And it feels like things have just gone so far with it all that we can't we do I think we all need that break, including the cast. If you think about it, they film what, say June through August, and then they're still taping their confessionals. And typically, for the most part, the schedule is that this season airs in January, and they're doing press, they're doing Watch What Happens Live, all of those things until maybe they get a month or two before filming picks up again, because remember, they still have to film the reunion. And if there are any pickups that need to happen, especially in those confessionals, things like that. So maybe they get the month of May to themselves. Maybe it is good for them to get that break. And I think we all collectively need a break from Scandival, which takes me to my next point. And also, I will put in the show notes for anyone who, has struggled with this. It is all I don't want to just like move on completely. I've had friends who I remember I was pregnant. A friend I found out I lost to, well, again, trigger warning, to suicide. And it was very shocking. And I can't imagine for anyone who's in that place how that feeling is, that that belief that that's your only option and that things will be better if that's where you're at. And I just want you to know that there are resources, and I will put those in my show notes as well here on YouTube and in the podcast show notes, because I do want to do my due diligence, not because I have to, but if it helps one person, it helps one person. Okay. So we're going to lift up a little bit. Okay. Something no one asked for was Jax Taylor and Sandoval being the guests on Watch What Happens Live. And it looks like they filmed, I believe, last night. And what's interesting is Tom Sandoval's new girlfriend, Victoria, who, if you watch the after show, he was going on and on about how she's motherly. And yeah, I think she did date Leonardo DiCaprio, and she's a model, and she's not into any of this stuff, and was just like waxing poetic on Victoria. Well, allegedly, she and Jax may have gone out last night after Watch What Happens Live was taped. Now, that part is a little murky, but what appeared to happen this morning was both Sandoval and Billy Lee unfollowed Victoria, Sandoval's girlfriend, who he just did a show, Sandoval and the Most Extras show, where Victoria showed up and he made a whole display of hugging her. And he was like a knockoff Aerosmith or something. Steven, I don't know what that was. That's too much of a compliment, I think. But anywho, and they all unfollowed each other. Victoria even unfollowed Sandoval, and it was a whole thing. And now apparently they're refollowing each other. Now, we don't know what may or may not have happened, but we do know Jax is a dirty, dirty dog. So I'm not entirely sure, but I promise you, besties, as soon as I find out more information, undercover or otherwise, I will let you know. One more thing, I'm only going to barely touch on some of it because I think y'all know I have friends who have been caught up in some things recently. New Jersey, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be covering the Real Housewives of New Jersey because the fan base is feral. And not every single one of us. I'm a fan of New Jersey, but I also am of the mindset that these women don't even know my name, nor do they care. And they don't care whose side I'm on. They just want to make their show and get paid. And some of this fan base is terrifying. Terrifying. It's out of control. There are a lot of sides to these stories going on regarding fabricated storylines, things like that. I've heard more than one side of this story, I shall say. And I am someone who joined this Bravoverse content creation podcasting from a place of I love these shows and I don't want the dirty negative side of it. I do want to share some opinions. Oh my God, that's my opinion. But I don't want to get involved in the dirty, nasty mud of it all. And with that being said, I'm not going to comment on some involvement or non-involvement that I know friends may or may not have had in certain aspects. And I do want to say that if you all really, really want me to cover Jersey, I need you to send me a DM, put a comment on this YouTube video, what have you. You know where to find me on Instagram and on TikTok. It's at Besties by Caitlin, Caitlan. And let me know, because if enough of you tell me yes, I will go ahead and get in the line of fire because it's a little terrifying. They're doxing creators, and I don't know what it is. The Jersey fan base, it gets really emotional. And it's okay to have high emotions and have strong opinions. That's totally fine. That's called being a human. What's not called being a human is literally being psychotic and reporting creators' videos who you just don't agree with. So if y'all really want me to cover it, you need to let me know, because otherwise I'm going to protect my peace. But I do love watching. I've always watched it. I'm a day oneer with Jersey, just like Beverly Hills, Vanderpump, all of it. So I do have thoughts and opinions, but I need to know if it's worth it. So y'all let me know. Okay. Let me know about that. But what I do also want to talk about, this episode of Summer House, y'all, it was good. And it was interesting. I've seen a lot of interesting opinions online regarding it, a lot of hot takes. It is something that fascinates me when it comes to Summer House, and specifically, now you're going to think I'm going to talk about Lindsay and Carl for a minute here. Nope, I'm talking about Paige and Craig. I always want to accidentally call them Craig. And it flows off the tongue for some reason in a way that I wasn't expecting. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, see if you can see my shirt. I made this. Club Send It. Summer should be fun. It's a cute little summer shirt that I drew up a lot of it. And that's available in my Etsy shop, Pop Culture Besties, because we love Bravo, but we also love other things like Big Mother Energy, BME. That's one of the things in there. Anyway, I just wanted to share it because I finally got my proofs in of it. And I was real excited to wear it for my Summer House recap. Let's start this episode off because y'all know me and my notes. I've got 9 pages. Buckle in, besties. We start out this episode with Paige and Craig having a picnic, and Paige is essentially telling him that she realizes that he gives her a lot of grace with her not being ready to take the marriage family deep dive plunge. And that she also says in confessional, she's with an exceptionally emotional person. Oh God, our toddler Craig, he has his big feelings, but I'm sorry, Craig has grown up so much since being with her. And I mean, I'm really proud of our Craigie. Okay. I really am. He showed a lot of emotional maturity on the last season of Southern Charm, and I just think he's a man now. Oh my god. And it's not like the type of changes and maturing that is only because of a woman. I think it started out as being kind of for Paige and wanting to be the type of person she wants to be with, but I think he also has evolved into doing it for himself. And I think he's been in therapy. And I think every adult needs therapy. Oh my God. Because how are we functioning? We're weird human people. See, the Aquarian mind is like starting to seep in. Next thing you know, I'll have a tinfoil hat on. So he tells her that she's not the easiest person to deal with. And listen, I am a Scorpio with an Aquarius partner, and yes, they are emotional. They're aloof, but they're emotional as hell. And we Scorpios are like, look, unless I am pissed and my scorpion tail is like, I'm not really going to show a lot of emotion. It better be like even keel. So, in a very, very Paige fashion, which you see my play on words because Paige loves fashion. Fashion loves Paige, and Paige loves fashion. She says, good things don't come easy. Chicken. I'm still wondering what the chicken thing is. Chicken? Don't call me chicken. Okay. Marty McFly would have a huge issue with that. If you know, you know. He tells her he doesn't know if she likes him or not sometimes, which Paige effing loves that. He questions that. And I know. It's not like the healthiest thing, but I think it works for them. And it's something about like, and I know some of you are like, oh my God, Caitlin, enough with the astrology, but it's so fascinating because as a fellow Scorpio queen, that is very much in our nature to be like, good, I want you to wonder if I even like you. I want you to wonder if I think you should go die in a ditch somewhere. Thank you so much. Because you should always be questioning. You should always think that you like me and love me more than I like or love you. Because if you know that I actually probably like and love you more than you do me, then we're in trouble. You need to always be questioning things. That's called balance. That's called a healthy relationship. So she ends up asking him at what age it would be ideal for him to have the kids and the family. And he's, beyond what is waiting too long. Craig's my age, which I'm still, I don't know what it is. Like in my mind, I'm still, I guess, 24 and everyone on TV has to be older than me, but we're both 35. Actually, I think he's a year older than me because this was last summer. So anyway, he says that he wants to have his first child by 40. Incredibly reasonable. 40 is very reasonable. And if Paige doesn't see that, baby doll, he's giving you 5 years. That's reasonable. And he basically says if it didn't happen by then, he'd have some resentment of wasting his time, essentially, with her. And then that idea of having to start over from scratch with a new person. God, having to train a new human to be in your presence that often all over again just sounds exhausting. Trust me. So Lindsay and Carl. Ooh, y'all, this is a Lindsay and Carl centric episode, which by the way, that reunion seating chart. What the hell was that? What was that? Bravo.
Andy, I need Andy in the camera. Come explain this to me. Explain it.
Why? It's Andy, of course, at the top. Then we've got Lindsay to, I guess, we've got Lindsay to audience left, right next to Andy. Carl, of course, is audience right next to Andy. See, this is hard when I'm on YouTube and I'm able to do my hands, but then on audio, I'm not. So, okay, bear with me. Next to Lindsay is Sierra. Then it's Paige. Then it's Jesse. And then it's Danielle. And across the way, Carl right next to Andy. And next to him is Kyle, then Amanda, then West, then Gabby. Why is it, tell me, that Carl gets to have his little backup buddy right next to him, yet Gabby has to be all the way across where Lindsay's going to have to be like shouting,
Gabby, oh my God. Gabby, can you hear me? Did you hear what Carl just said?
And Gabby's going to have to lean all the way down. And we're going to have to hope she's not going to be asking Carl to repeat whatever it is he just said. It's not that I think Sierra and Lindsay are like against each other necessarily, but I mean, would that have been so hard? But also, this seating arrangement lends to the fact that we've been hearing Sierra and West are no longer whatever it is they're doing, sleeping next to each other on occasion, not with, just next. And, all the way across from each other. I mean, the after show, the way Sierra has been kind of like talking about West, it didn't sound like it was still happening anyway. But anywho, Lindsay and Carl are at their apartment, and Lindsay asks him about his visit with Lou and his mama, Sharon. And Carl is clearly already getting fidgety, my friends. As soon as a man gets fidgety, you know you can't trust it. And Lindsay goes, did they have any advice? And this dirty little birdie Carl is like, I'm trying to think of any nuggets. Sir, stop it. Lindsay is eagle-eyeing yo ass right now. And he basically just is fully skirting around the whole thing. And then he gives this very tight-lipped smile that does not reach his eyes. There's no crinkling around the eyes. So it tells you it's not a genuine smile. It's an uncomfortable smile and not a real one. And then he's like clasping his hands together while crossing his legs to protect himself. Men, especially when they're uncomfortable, they're going to like either put their hands in their lap to gird, their manhood, or they'll cross their legs, or they'll put something in front of themselves because God knows the most important thing to a man is that area. So whenever a man starts doing that, he's uncomfortable. Doesn't necessarily mean he's lying, but it means he's uncomfortable. Trust me. I'm a body language expert. I'm just kidding. No, but I read a lot and listen to a lot of books. Doesn't make me any smarter, but hey, we're here. Anywho, so she clearly knows something is up because when he goes, I like hearing from, I'm sorry, just lost my place in my notes. She knows something is up because when he goes, I like hearing from my parents, but I'm going to do what I want to do. Lindsay goes, she's that girl, y'all. That girl. She will watch all of the things I did just mention about the body language because she's also known Carl for years. And she knows when he's full of shit. She does. And that's when she goes, why? What were they saying? That's the question to ask, my friend. And he fumbles around his words. And it's kind of hysterical because she ends up saying the exact same thing at the exact same time I did. Because when he tells her he's wanting more support and less questioning, she immediately goes, and this is what I said, from them or from me? I was like, from them or me? As if I'm the one in the relationship. Okay, cool. And he says from them, as in his parents. He then says, I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong. I love you, and I'm still going to do what I want to do. What do you mean you're not trying to prove anyone wrong? See, this is where you can tell Lindsay has calmed down because I know what I would have been absolutely doing. Well, what is it that you're trying to prove wrong? Huh? Who? Who's them? What's wrong? What's right? You tell me. No, I asked you first. No, I asked you first. What's wrong? What's right? You tell me. What are you trying to prove right? You said wrong. I meant right. I mean, I would. She's got growth. She's growing. And then she asks him if they were telling him that they should break up, and he just gives us, no. And she picked up also on the, I'm still going to do what I want to do, and tells him as much. And that's the part that's giving the waving red flag in this conversation. He's telling her their concerns surround the fights they had during the summer and want to make sure that they're not rushing into getting married. And that's when she's like, rushing? Excuse me? Rushing? And she grabs that word and says it concerns her. But this is also what's annoying right now is instead of just being truthful with Lindsay, Carl then acts like he's afraid of her. And you know what? He very well may be. We have a history with Lindsay, okay? How many sandwiches have you made for me? Yes, we do know Lindsay can be intense as shit. But I think Carl does himself a disservice by playing this victim role in these moments where if he actually just got truthful, we could see, did Lindsay grow with the therapy or not, and give her the chance to show us, because maybe she would have spiraled. We don't know. And he's so focused on looking like the sweet, I don't like confrontation guy that it's backfiring on him completely. And he tells her that, his parents are just worried they're not in a good place. There's a big look from Lindsay. And then he's like, let me try one more time. Can we do another take? Can we do another take, please? Yeah. Okay. We'll pick back up from the last line. They're worried that if you and I are not in a good place, then the wedding stuff is a lot of pressure. Well, yeah. You said the same thing. And she just basically is like, well, it won't be awkward at all when I see your mom, like at the shower. So we get to Lindsay's bridal shower. And let me just start this by saying I'm really surprised that Lindsay was totally cool with Gabby wearing white to the bridal shower. She just doesn't seem like that type of bride, but also, okay, great. Sam from last year and Rachel, remember from Windsor House, Rachel did the flowers. They're there for a minute. Well, Sam's there for longer, but Lindsay walks into her bridal shower just saying over and over, I'm a bride. I'm a bride. I'm a bride. We all know that girl. And God bless America, that's Lindsay. She's the embodiment of it. So Lindsay is sitting there talking to her stepmom, and she happens to be seated between her stepmom and Sharon. And we find out that her stepmom, Carolyn, has been with Lindsay's dad since Lindsay was about 3 years old. And Lindsay, in this moment, has her back completely turned away from Sharon, who's just kind of eating, raising her brows at, whether what she hears Lindsay saying or the situation that Lindsay has quite literally blocked her off. And Lindsay is telling her stepmom that she wasn't sure if she was ever going to get to be a bride and if it would ever happen for her. And she's saying, that she and Carl have had issues and basically, but every couple does. And let me just also say, I feel for Lindsay. And we find out a little bit more about how this has really affected her in this episode. But God, y'all know I'm a mama of a 2-year-old, and I cannot imagine, because that's how old Lindsay was when her mother left. I can't imagine leaving my 2-year-old and 3-year-old, because that would be Lindsay's brother, and fully bailing. Now, listen, y'all, there are days. There are multiple days. I would love to just run away, grab my Kindle, grab, a little bottle of wine, I have my good book, and go sit somewhere. I don't even care if it is, honestly, I'm basically describing being kidnapped, but with wine and a book. So basically what I'm saying is I can't imagine running away from my child for more than a week. Jokes, of course, right? So Sharon interrupts Lindsay and Carolyn talking, and she's like, you're so far. Oh my God, you guys, this scene, it was played out so beautifully. I was dying. Okay. This is where so many of my copious notes came from. I'm still cracking up. I have tears in my eyes because it was like someone wrote this for them, didn't they? The look on Lindsay's face, this smile she gives, like, I'm looking at you as a monster-in-law, and like you have never made a sandwich for me. And I know what you said about me, bitch. Oh my God. Like, she's also like, I am going to scream if you try and take my wedding away from me. But she does tell Sharon that they're having mommy-daughter talks and that Sharon can go ahead and scoot closer. And she's just telling her, you can join our mommy-daughter talk. But Sharon just has this look. And listen, none of this is against Sharon or really Lindsay, to be honest. But Sharon has that look, like that mom look, like, nah, I know what's going on. I know. And she says it this way too. Oh, well, I don't know if I should get mixed up in mommy-daughter talks. That's very important stuff. And she kind of gives this like gritted teeth smile, just like mommy-son talks are very important stuff, Satan. Lindsay says in her confessional that she's known Sharon as long as she's known Carl and that she's excited to have Sharon as a mother in law. And she says it in the exact way that would tell you she's not excited. But she also adds that it's pretty uncomfortable knowing what Sharon has said to Carl. Sharon and Lou, and it was mostly Lou saying it, bear that in mind. But Sharon is at this next point talking to some of the summer house girls that are there, and they ask what she's wearing to the wedding. And Sharon says, well, Lindsay, you better ask her. She has a whole color palette. So I don't know yet. That's up to her because she won't let me wear what I want. I can't even wear beige. So, sorry. Anywho, I know it's like, it seems like maybe Lindsay could be maybe a bit of a bridezilla, but I don't know that she's totally seeming that way. I think Lindsay's just someone who's always known what she wants in her wedding, and that's it. She was prepared. But Lindsay goes up to her and she hugs her with another teeth gritting grin. And she's saying, "Isn't it so great that Sharon came?" Lindsay hugs her when Sharon says, "Well, I'm the mother of the groom. I have to come." Sharon's like, "I am just as fucking important. So of course I would be here." And Lindsay starts thanking her anyway for coming. But when Lindsay hugs her, now remember, Lindsay is a reality TV veteran. She's been doing this for 8 years. She hugs her and looks straight into the camera. Straight into the camera. And it's almost like her brain is somehow sending the signal, this wedding wrecking hooker. She brings up what Carl told her about their concerns about them getting married. And Lindsay says, it broke my heart a little. And Sharon looks like she feels bad and hugs Lindsay. And the look on Lindsay's face when she hugs her, the smile, she's like, "Ugh." He wants to fully activate on her. This scene, I'm sorry, it's almost like, I almost feel like I'm watching Game of Thrones. The political power play, all of it, it is so like tit tat, chess, checkers. Oh, checkers, chess. It's so much. So there are more hugs after this. And Lindsay says she's doing her best dealing with being in a relationship who deals with addiction issues. And again, Lindsay looks right into the camera. It's like now we went from Game of Thrones to The Office. It's like an episode of The Office at this point. It's like Game of Office. I don't know. Is that even, maybe that's a thing. Oh my God. Did I come up with a new TV show concept? No, no one would watch that. It's fine. Just two of people's favorite television shows of all times and stuff. I never got into The Office. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, friends. I tried. I couldn't get into it. Some of it was funny, but I couldn't get into it. But they conclude things a bit. And then Lindsay says, "Well, I'm excited for you to be my mother-in-law." And then, oh my God. Sharon says, "Well, hey, Lauren Workus thought I'd be a great mother-in-law." No, Sharon, you did it. Sharon, oh my God. Like, if Lindsay was not ready to activate go gadget Lindsay murder, she brought up Lauren Workus, and I'm just oh, I'm so sorry. It's still like Sharon knew what she was doing, okay? And you know what? Mad respect for it. Mad respect. They start the gift opening, and someone got Lindsay a sandwich wrapped style of lingerie, which honestly, that is brilliant and it was really cute. But let me also just say this as someone who's well, I didn't have a bridal shower. It's a long story. Anywho, who's been to many a shower and had a baby shower and all of that. The only time opening gifts at a shower is fun is when it's a baby shower, but it's only fun for the people who are also parents or just very interested and love children. Otherwise, it's opening lingerie in front of your friends and family, which I think is so weird. I'm sorry, I find it bizarre. Like, how many times are you going to open up lingerie and apparently sex toys in front of friends and family? That's mortifying to me. Mortifying. I don't need you to see what. No, not even going into it. Not going into it. Please don't. Please don't. Do that at the bachelorette party. What the hell? But then Carl comes in dressed in white, acting like he's Prince Charming. And of course, he has to have white pants because Carl loves a white pant. And the number of phones that break out to film this. But he says in confessional that he loves Lindsay and wants to marry her and to make this work. But did Carl, did you really have to steal the limelight at her bridal shower? You know the bride's supposed to wear white. And I don't care. The bride is now. So everyone's going to the Hamptons. And Lindsay did invite Paige to her shower. But Paige didn't go because she's not even invited to the wedding, which honestly, I think that's fair. Because Paige in confessional was like, excuse me, Miss Manners. So yeah, she didn't go. And I think it's fair on both sides. You only get so many invites for a wedding, especially a destination wedding like that. So whatever. It didn't happen anyway. Ooh, sorry. My bad. So Jesse and West are in the car. And Jesse is talking about the 5-year checkup he has this coming week for prostate cancer. And that 5-year mark he's mentioning is huge. It's a huge milestone in the cancer community. And thank you so much, West. Thank you for bringing up that you wonder if you get an erection while you're getting screened. And Jesse's like, yeah, dude, you're typically more worried about actually, having cancer or not. So that's not exactly a concern. Thanks. Jesus Christ. Danielle and Gabby are talking about the evening. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm sure you did because the name of the episode is Witchin and Bitchin. Well, the astrologer that Gabby is talking about, her friend Alyssa, is also my friend, Alyssa Polinsky. I love Alyssa. She's Stars X Alyssa on Instagram. She's been on this podcast before. I got to see her when I was in New York in February. And I may or may not have known she was going to be on the episode, but I've been a good little girl and kept my lips sealed, even to my closest friends, because I just wanted it to be like a whole thing. And I'm very excited for Alyssa. I'm going to try and get her on here, but scheduling, it gets a little tough. So it may have to be pre-recorded whenever she gets time. But Alyssa, she is fantastic. I love her. Go follow her on Instagram and you'll get to see her on the episode this week. So interesting because I know a little bit about it. But anywho, outside, West, Gabby, Danielle, and Lindsay are talking about all the astrology stuff. And Lindsay asks West if he and Sierra are exclusive. He says no because they're not sleeping together. So to him, it's weird to be exclusive with someone you're not sleeping with in his mind. I mean, okay, that's fair at that point. And so he does confirm he's not pursuing other girls, but he's not shutting anyone down. And Lindsay then takes it further because she knows, she's like, that means girls are texting him and he's texting back. Meanwhile, oh my God, inside, Sierra's saying, I need to go hug my boo thing. Oh, shit, Sierra. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Sierra comes out and immediately does the pick me up. Do the kiss and twirl bachelor style, hugging, kissing on his neck, and that conversation. By the way, why does the front door of this house hate this entire cast? It's like got like a vendetta against everyone trying to come into this house. It's almost like the ghost of Lindsay's wedding dress saying, don't do it. Anyway, so Kyle and Amanda show up and Gabby is telling them about Alyssa coming over. And Amanda jokes, what if she tells us Kyle and I aren't compatible? Sierra's like, well, we tried to tell you, bitch. The bridal shower is brought up. And Lindsay is kind of just like, yeah, it was beautiful. And in 3 short months, I'll have a mother-in-law. You notice she said that instead of in 3 short months, I'll be Mrs. Carl Racky. Interesting, huh? interesting because everyone gets real silent and awkward about it. And Carl looks like he's about to upchuck into the pool or all over what I didn't even see what he was wearing, but I'm sure it was some version of white, baby blue, or something on the lower half of his body. West finds out he got the job at Complex and he has Paige read it out loud. So he strips to his little undies and jumps in the pool. Now everyone starts going inside. And Paige and Amanda start talking about West and Sierra, how, like, come on, you're into him. Every time we're out here, you're like, oh, this is mine. This is my boo thing, whatever. And Lindsay comes in pretending she needs powder, like as if Lindsay didn't pack powder with herself. But okay. But I do really like seeing these three, Amanda, Paige, and Lindsay, acting like they're real girlfriends who don't totally hate each other and have to coexist in a house every weekend for 8 weeks because they film a show called Summer House. Anywho, Lindsay tells them that West told the group that was outside before they got there that he's texting other girls. And Lindsay then tells Amanda and Paige about Carl's parents having concerns about her and Carl getting married and that she brought it up to Sharon at the bridal shower. I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm a mix of Amanda and Lindsay. I don't think I would have brought it up at the bridal shower. Oh my God. But I don't know when Lindsay would have seen Sharon to bring it up. But Amanda says she'd rather go to her grave knowing that her partner's parents didn't approve or had reservations about her getting married to their child than to ever bring it up to her partner's parents that she knows that. And Paige is loving this piece of hot goss. So she's asking Lindsay more about this whole reservation that Carl's parents have. And honestly, Paige and Amanda are being so supportive of Lindsay. And I mean, I gotta say, it's understandable that Lindsay would feel hurt by this. And even aside from the deep wounds she's had from childhood of what happened with her own mother, I could understand why this would hurt your feelings. I mean, my feelings would be hurt. Immediate reaction is probably like, well, F them. But no, I get it. I completely understand why she feels that way. And Lindsay says she thinks part of the hurt is what happened with her biological mom. And this is something when it comes to Lindsay, part of why aside from, let's set aside the fact that we women have this bullshit thing called a biological clock. I think it would have only been fair to force the men to have the biological clock. God, do you hear me? Why don't the men have the biological clock? Thank you very much. Anywho, I'll talk to him about that when I see him. I think that we would see a lot of role reversals, and when men and women are ready to get married and have babies, I do. We'd have few less Jax Taylor types running around in this world. If their age for having children was medically called geriatric at the age of 35, I guarantee you more men would be freaking out. Just saying. You heard me, God. We're going to talk later. Anywho. So I think Lindsay is so desperately wanting this chance to prove to herself that she could be a loving and present mother in a way that her biological mother wasn't. And she wants to give a child that is her own, what she didn't have from her biological mother. I think she wants that so badly. And it's that thing that's been missing for her since she was teensy tiny. It breaks my heart. It almost makes me tear up, but I swear I'm not going to cry on today's podcast. Okay. Okay. I'm pulling it together. She says she feels like she's being rejected, which broke my heart. Because Lindsay, when Lindsay's vulnerable, it's not in the way that we always expect a female to be vulnerable. She keeps a lot of strength. And I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I mean, it's almost a vulnerability that we expect from men, that they're supposed to still have this strength in there. And we don't allow the room for women to be that way. And we also a lot of times don't allow room for men to be vulnerable in the way we expect women to be. God, societal norms. But you know what? The girls are being so supportive of Lindsay, and Paige brings up the obvious of how mothers can sometimes feel like they're losing their son when their son is getting married. And she does tell Lindsay that Sharon is lucky to have her. And I thought that was really nice, you know? So over in Kyle and Amanda's room, it's Carl and Kyle brings up that Carl and Lindsay are getting very close to the wedding date. And it's interesting how Carl said it was, the bridal shower was like a fairy tale. And that's exactly what he was trying to do, show up like he was Prince Charming. I know I'm supposed to be like, the audience is supposed to be Team Carl, but I'm not. Yes, Lindsay has had her monster moments. Y'all know I know that, but y'all also know that I'm sorry. I feel like Carl, if he was going to break up with her, he should have already freaking done it. God, this man. Then Carl starts to tell Kyle about what happened in the conversation with his parents at the Jersey Shore with Lou and Sharon. And Amanda comes in pretending to look for her shoes and bag. She's like doing that thing that you do like when you want to know what your parents are talking about in the room. And so you got to find an excuse to go in the room. Go, where's my phone charger? God, lost my checkbook. You don't have a checkbook. Maybe I do. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? That's not it. I was looking for a singular Kleenex that I left on the shelf in here. Why'd you leave a Kleenex on the shelf? I don't know, but I'm going to have to look. Let me look under things. Excuse me. And you're obviously not looking for anything. Anywho, she gives up and joins the conversation. Good girl. Just the jig's up. Just go ahead. But meanwhile, outside where everyone else is waiting for dinner to start, Paige asks Jesse to get her and Lindsay a drink. And Jesse says, I would pretty much do anything for Lindsay. On the after show, Lindsay did say if all the things had been aligned correctly, she would have gone out on a date with Jesse. And I don't even think she's seeing someone now. So we're going to throw away right this moment. But I think she would have been open to that. And there was just like this little moment. But Lindsay, I'm so glad you didn't do it because that is literally a more F-boy version of Carl Radke. So thank God. Dodged another bullet. Back upstairs, Amanda tells Carl what Lindsay was relaying to her and Paige in the bathroom. And, basically everything that had happened, with the parents and how Lindsay had mostly felt rejected. And of course, Carl starts defending it. And he's saying his stepdad had the most concerns, which, yes, that is true, at least most vocal concerns, and that he's not going to tell Lindsay everything his mother says. Okay, here, guess what? I'll defend Carl. He doesn't have to tell Lindsay every single thing his mother says, but he does when she's mic'd up and on television, which we get to this coming point. Y'all, oh my God, I can't even form my words. We get a fourth wall break. I love a fourth wall break. I love it. I don't know. I think I love it more than a hot mic, but I don't know. Hot mics are amazing. God, do you see what comes out of me? I turn feral. Oh my God, I'm acting like a New Jersey fan, but oh my God, it makes me feral and excited. Okay, we're not there yet, but we're getting there. Fourth wall break. Fourth wall break. Okay. There's no one there. I'm just yelling. Okay. He tells them about Lou saying he wouldn't marry them if he were doing their premarital counseling. And then he tells them that essentially, he's like, yeah, you're not in my relationship every day. So I'm going to head on over back to that. Mm-hmm. And he also says that he didn't realize the abandonment issues Lindsay has and that it runs very deep and is really hard for her. Yeah, no shit, Carl. I'm sorry. If I had a partner whose same gender parent abandoned them at the age of 2, oh my God, it's going to make me it's going to turn me into an emotional mess. I cannot fathom. Okay. Maybe there were some mental health issues. We don't know the reason. Okay. And we're not going into that. But what we are going to say is you as her partner didn't stop to freaking think about it. You had to be in couples therapy to even get a grasp on how that could have deeply traumatized and affected her, Carl. Jesus Christ. It's wild the way some men will find ways to be victims themselves, because the way he's saying this makes it sound like he's a victim of her trauma. And now maybe sometimes he is by the way she maybe takes it out on him, but it's not his trauma. He has his own trauma that is real. Okay. And it's real. But my God, I'm sorry. It makes me, ooh. So Amanda asks him if he told Lindsay what Lou said. And when he tells her no, we get the fourth wall break. And Amanda's like, but isn't she like gonna see this? And that's when he goes, the other caveat is camera, producer, camera, PA, this.
I love it.
Amanda says she gets it and that she had to tell her parents that Kyle cheated on her and would not have done that if it wasn't going to air. And then they bring up about how Amanda's father laughed in Kyle's face when he asked for Amanda's hand in marriage, that, cute little archaic thing that some people still love, and that's fine if you do. But I think what they were trying to do is make Carl feel better about how even even my parents had reservations. And what they're forgetting to add is, and my parents still hate Kyle and they will never approve of us. Right, Kyle? Carl says if it weren't for the show, he'd be able to go home to Lindsay and say, yeah, let's get married. But Amanda says it's better for Lindsay to hear it from him, what Lou and his mother Sharon said, rather than to find out watching the show. So back over at the table, oh, see, this is what happens when I lose my place. They're talking about Jesse's dating life, and Danielle asks him if he's dating during the week to find his person and using the weekend to sleep with randos. And he says he's dating during the week to find a person he could spend 60 plus years with, and that he's finding leads on the weekends. So let me tell you, my friends, if you meet Jesse on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you are in the running of being the next Mrs. Jesse Solomon. But if you happen to meet him on a Saturday or Sunday, even a Friday evening, SOL, it's him expecting you to be DTF. Anywho, Sierra like hates him because she goes, you're kind of a trash bag. I mean, I would never introduce you to any of my girlfriends. He's like, that's kind of rude. But she finds it annoying that he's just trying to screw around right now, which honestly, look, Sierra, why do you care? I don't know why you care. He's not leading one of your friends on, kind of like what is happening between you and Wes. I don't know who's leading who on, but I really don't. But yeah, I don't know why you care that much, but that's fine. Just don't introduce him to your friends. But Amanda, Kyle, and Carl finally make it to dinner where everyone is already eating. And Carl sits down and Lindsay points out, like, you were up there for a while. Was it lover boy stuff you were talking about? Then Carl is about to do this thing that I loathe in any person who has even an ounce of an anxious bone in their body. Oh, I hate it. Because he should have said, hey, we need to have a conversation. Would you like to do it now or later? Or not said anything. Oh, I'll tell you in a little bit what we were talking about. Instead, he wants Lindsay to sit there at dinner pretending to be not freaking out on the inside after he tells her, yeah, we were just talking about the conversation I had with my mom and my stepdad. And, we need to have a conversation at some point. Like, all I'm going to think about is this shitty conversation I have to have with you at some point. Like, what's so bad that I don't already know? And she's like, we already talked about it. But she also at this point thinks he told her everything about the conversation. And he didn't. So she asks, can we just go talk right now? So lost my notes. That's cute. Well, we're going to keep just chatting here because it quit. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. Whew, the panic. It's like suddenly not having your notes for a test or something. Y'all aren't grading me, are you? No, you just leave reviews telling me how much I suck. Or tell me how much you love me, please. This is a great opportunity to be like, hey, could you leave me a 5-star review wherever it is you are listening or subscribe to YouTube? Okay. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. Okay, we're still going. So they get up so abruptly, almost as abruptly as my notes. Pages app just shut down on my Mac. Jesus. And Danielle's looking at them like WTF all over her face. And they go inside, and Carl tells Lindsay that Sharon and his stepdad have been concerned about where they're at with their fighting. And she's confused again because they already talked about this. And she's seeing like, you're upset about something. What the hell is it? What is going on? What did they say? What did you say? What did anyone say? And she's perceiving him as angry and upset, and he's reiterating that he's not angry. But again, here's me trying to call out the societal norms and the oppressions we put on genders and people in general, where sometimes with some men, it really is kind of hard to tell the difference between them being mad or angry, because men often, not all men, but some men often trying to cover my ass because, I'm tired. Okay. They mask the anger. I'm sorry. They mask the sadness with anger because that's the societal norm to say, oh, it's okay for a man to be angry, but it's not okay for him to be crying and sad, much in the way that, women, when we're angry, a lot of us, I know I do it, I start crying because, hey, guess what? We've been shown that it's okay for a man to punch a hole in the wall, but for a woman, it's not. So I can understand that she's not perceiving his mood maybe the way it actually is for that reason. Okay, cool. I'll get off my soapbox. He tells her that he doesn't want secrets with her, and that when the conversation with his parents plays on TV, he says doesn't want her to be blinded, but I don't know why I'm getting nitpicky on some of the verbiage people are using. But he says he doesn't want her to be blindsided or caught off guard. And he finally tells her what Lou said about how he wouldn't marry them if they were his couple. So Carl is fully expecting and wanting Lindsay to have a full-blown meltdown, and he just is counting on it, which, if her past is any indication, that would be normal. But he is dying for everyone to be like, see, she is a monster. She's so mean. All I did was tell her that my parents are concerned about us as a couple, and she's screaming at me. But Lindsay is so calm, and I don't know if that should be feared more than her freaking out. Because all she says is that she wishes he'd communicate better with her. He says that Lou was making the judgment he made from one side, and she reminds him that this is exactly why she doesn't share the details of their fights with her parents, because they only get one side of it. And outside, they're wondering what's going on inside. And Gabby says Lindsay isn't doing her fighting hands. She's doing her, I'm trying to explain this to you in a calm way, but I'm assertive hands, which actually was a pretty strong assessment. Paige then, this had me dying. Because Paige goes, what do you think the chef is doing in the kitchen? Just like listening. Because Paige is so jealous. Paige wants to be the chef in the kitchen right now. And they pan over to the chef, who's just standing there around the corner. He straight up looks like a hostage. Okay, he looks like he is the one that is kidnapped in the basement. And he's like, can I knock on a pipe and someone save me from this? But also, like, what's the tea, babe? What's the tea? So Carl is still trying to reiterate that his parents love Lindsay and that he's overwhelmed right now. And that when Amanda said Lindsay was emotional, Lindsay interrupts him, and she clarifies that the conversation wasn't like, oh, Sharon hates me. It was like, I'm feeling heartbroken and sad and I feel rejected. And Carl just goes on to say that he's got so much in his head. He's overwhelmed with wedding loose ends and whatnot. And here's the thing, is because he's not being completely honest with her about what's bothering him, which is the fact that he doesn't actually want to go through with marrying her, and him not being honest with her about that. She's going in her head, yeah, I'm dealing with all the same shit as you. So why is it that you are behaving this way and I'm having to pick up the pieces? Because then she says, and it's too much for me to have an emotion for you right now. Exactly. See, he doesn't want her to have any single emotional reaction to anything, because clearly he is the only one allowed to have emotions. Sorry, but that's how he's behaving. He is. her emotions are big. They have always been big. Her reactions are big and they always will be. That is who she is as a person. She can go to therapy and learn how to make her anger emotions channeled out in a way that's more productive rather than yelling at you. But she's an emotional person. And he says no, like acting as though she slapped him in the face with this, and that he says he wishes he had told her sooner, and, you know, he didn't want to make her spiral. And he just truly seems like so annoyed that she's not spiraling. But he also, because this is the thing too, why isn't Carl relieved by Lindsay's reaction? Why? She is so calm. She's taking it so well. If that is truly how you felt, shouldn't you be acting relieved that she at least is calm if you were truly that scared of her reaction? Riddle me that. He starts getting very teary-eyed, and next week we do see them getting back into it and him saying he wants more from her and that he's just not she's not giving him enough. And we see Kyle has a meltdown, which seems to be quite performative. So, okay. But also as of now, okay, let me clear this with Giorgio, but even if I'm not, go listen to Giorgio Talk Knox's podcast that he will be recapping the Valley, and I do believe I will be joining him tomorrow for that, and it should come out maybe Thursday, but Giorgio will be joining me on Thursday live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 12 p.m. Pacific, and we are going to cover this Vanderpump Rules finale. We'll see what we actually get out of it. Before I head out, hi, Miriam. I want to say hi to a few of you. Hi, Christina, and hi, Kelly. I saw a lot of, all I see is a number for how many of you are watching, and I saw quite a few of you. So I'm so sorry if I didn't give you a shout out. I do encourage you join the chat so I can say hi, because I just like saying hi to the besties here. That's very important to me. I'm going to just go ahead and ask again, y'all leave a 5-star review with a cute little note. It means the world because this bestie community is everything. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, join me for the lives. I always post a little thing in the morning to kind of give a reminder if you're not sure when it's happening. And also follow me on Instagram, Besties by Caitlin. Follow me on TikTok for however long it is there. But I will see you all Thursday, again at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, to do Vanderpump Rules with Giorgio. Thank you all again for joining, and I will see you then. Bye.